Oh boy, you've purchased your first boat and you're eager to hit the water and begin enjoying all of the benefits of new boat ownership. Fishing, wakeboarding, and those tropical drinks with the little umbrellas in them that the broker told you about. Not so fast. You may be ready, but is your boat? From basic essentials to safety gear, proper outfitting is the key to a safe, enjoyable day on the water. Here's the lowdown on what every boat needs. First up is required safety equipment. While your outfitting list will vary based on the type of boat and activities planned, a great place to start is with required safety equipment. Safety equipment is based on a number of factors, from vessel length to the number of people on board. You'll want to verify the requirements for your particular vessel and situation, but here are the basics. First off, personal flotation devices, or PFDs. All recreational boats must carry a Coast Guard approved wearable PFD type 1, 2, 3, or 5 for each person on board. PFDs must be in good serviceable condition, of the appropriate size for the intended wearer, and readily accessible for use. That means not stowed in a locked compartment below decks or beneath a ton of gear in the cockpit locker. As a marine surveyor, I see a lot of PFDs still in plastic shipping bags, an effort by boat owners to keep them clean. However, these bags must be removed as well, otherwise they are not considered to be readily accessible. When purchasing PFDs, one big consideration is wearability. A PFD provides no benefit if it is used, so choose those that are comfortable enough that they will actually be worn. Inflatable PFDs are a popular choice due to their lightweight and low profiles. Available in vest or belt-worn styles, each unit contains a CO2 canister, which automatically inflates a rubber bladder to provide flotation when the wearer enters the water. If you choose this style, be aware that they may have additional maintenance requirements other than standard life jackets and must be maintained per the manufacturer's recommendations. There must also be a minimum of one approved Type 4 throwable device, such as a throwable cushion or life ring. Type 4 devices are designed to be thrown to a person in the water, and while one is the minimum, it's always a good idea to carry more. Throwing several in the water not only increases the chances that the person in the water can reach it, but also makes it easier to spot the area where they went overboard. It's also a good idea to have at least one with an attached but detachable lanyard, which allows you to pull the person back to the boat. Portable fire extinguishers. The number of portable fire extinguishers your boat requires is based on factors such as the boat's length, whether it has an enclosed engine compartment, and if there's a fixed or permanently installed extinguishing system. The three primary classes of fires are Class A, which is combustible solids like wood, Class B, flammable liquids like gasoline or oil, and Class C, which is electrical fires. New regulations per 2022 call for extinguishers that use UL, Underwriters Laboratories, designations, a number and letter combination that indicates the square footage of the fire the extinguisher can put out and the type of fire it is effective against. For example, a 5B extinguisher indicates an extinguisher capable of putting out a Class B fire up to 5 square feet in size. Vessels less than 26 feet are required to carry at least one 5B portable fire extinguisher. Vessels 26 feet or more, but less than 40 feet must carry two 5B units, or one 5B unit if a fixed fire extinguishing system is installed in the engine compartment. Those 40 feet or more, but not more than 65 feet, are required to carry three 5B units, two if a fixed extinguisher is installed. A single 20B portable fire extinguisher can be substituted for two 5B units. Note that these are the minimum requirements, and there are exceptions. For example, a vessel that less than 26 feet in length, propelled by an outboard motor, is not required to carry a portable fire extinguisher if the construction of the vessel will not permit the entrapment of explosive or flammable gases or vapors. My personal view is that no one has ever died from having too many fire extinguishers on board. Always carry more than a minimum, and every boat powered by a combustion engine should have at least one on board. Visual distress signaling devices. Boats smaller than 16 feet are required to carry nighttime distress signaling devices when operating between sunset and sunrise. while boats 16 feet and larger must carry visual signals for both day and nighttime use. Approved visual distress signals fall into two categories: pyrotechnic and non-pyrotechnic devices. Pyrotechnic devices include red flares, handheld or aerial, orange smoke, handheld or floating, and launchers for aerial red meters or parachute flares. Non-pyrotechnical would include any other type of visual distress signal, such as distress flags or electronic distress lights, which flash the Morse code for SOS. Flares are relatively inexpensive and a popular choice with boaters, who typically meet minimum Coast Guard requirements via a combination of red handheld or aerial flares suitable for day and night use. Flares have to be Coast Guard or SOLAS, Safety of Life at Sea, approved. The following are examples of the variety and combination of devices that can be carried in order to meet the minimum requirements. 3 handheld red flares approved for day and night use, 3 handheld or floating orange smoke signals, and 1 electric distress light, 3 combination day and night red flares, handheld, media, or parachute type, 1 handheld red flare and 2 parachute flares approved for day and night use, and 1 distress flag for daytime use, and 1 electric distress light for nighttime use. Meeting the minimum number required by law does not mean you're carrying all the signaling devices you'll want on board during an emergency. When needed, flares and other signaling devices are like winning lottery numbers. You just can't have too many of them. In my opinion, every vessel should carry at least double what's required by law, more when coastal or offshore cruising. Most every vessel will also be required to carry some form of sound-producing device for use in an emergency or during restricted visibility, and even those that are not would do well to have one on board. Vessels less than 12 meters in length are required to carry an efficient sound-producing device, such as a bell, air horn, or whistle. Vessels 12 meters or more in length must carry both a whistle and a bell. The minimum audible range for a whistle or horn, both terms can be used interchangeably, required for a vessel 20 meters, 65.6 feet in length, but less than 75 meters, 246 feet in length, is 1 nautical mile. The minimum range for a vessel 12 meters, 39.4 feet, but less than 20 meters, is 0.5 nautical miles. Now that you have the required safety equipment, let's take a look at outfitting required for proper operation of your new boat. First up, VHF radio. Cell phones have their uses, but if you want to communicate on the water directly to other boats or marine rescue organizations, a VHF radio is a necessity. A VHF radio with a properly registered Maritime Mobile Service Identity MMSI number is an invaluable aid in the event of an emergency, one that makes it easier for rescue organizations such as the Coast Guard or tow services to locate you. A fixed mount 25-watt VHF radio provides greater operational distance, but even a 5-watt handheld VHF radio can be a lifesaver. Next up is an EPIRB or PLB. EPIRB is an emergency position indicating radio beacon, while a PLB is a personal locator beacon. When activated, emergency beacons such as the PLB and EPIRB transmit a coded message on the 406 megahertz distress frequency, which is then relayed via COSPO's SARSAT global satellite system and earth stations to the nearest RCC, Rescue Coordination Center. Featuring internal GPS, modern units can provide a location accuracy of approximately 100 yards. Every boat should also have some means of anchoring, be it for fishing, swimming, or maintaining position in the event of an emergency. Anchor selection is based on a number of considerations, from the size and style of watercraft you own to the type of bottom you'll be anchoring in, mud, grass, sand, or rock, as well as water depth, wind, and water conditions you expect to encounter. Most anchor manufacturers will provide a table for matching boats to their product. As an example, a typical setup for a mid-sized powerboat, approximately 25 feet, would be about a 13-pound anchor, 15 foot or 1/4 inch anchor chain, and let's say 200 feet of 7/16 diameter 3-stranded nylon anchor rod. Two more items that you want to have: dock lines and fenders. How else can you secure and protect your boat while docking at the Yacht Club Tiki Bar for that all-you-can-eat wing special? Each boat should carry a minimum of 3 lines for tying alongside a dock: a bow line, a stern line, and a spring line. Dock line sizes and lengths are based on the size of your boat. A good rule of thumb is 1/8 of an inch diameter line for every 8 foot of boat length. Bow and stern lines should be at least 2/3 of your boat's length, while the spring line should be equal to your boat length. You should also have a minimum of 2 fenders to protect your boat when docked. More is better, and larger diameters will provide greater protection. Don't forget that you'll also need lines to hang the fenders in place. Finally, here are a few other great ideas you should consider having on board. First aid kit, sunblock, bug spray, a baler or bucket to remove water, paddles or oars, a waterproof flashlight, handheld or a headlamp style, sturdy rust-proof knife, a floating keychain for your ignition key, and a basic toolbox with any special tools required for your boat, as well as a basic spare parts list, such as an extra fan belt or maybe an impeller for your raw water pump.